And when people get hungry, when they get mad, they get upset, and they see no future, no hope, they're angry because they have nothing, they're quite possibly coming to your house. It's Monday, April 4th, 2022. I want to get right into this video today. So much happening around the world, so much happening right here that is going to continue to affect every one of us. You know, people write me, and I'm sure people that you talk to say the same thing. Relax, nothing is going to happen. These people are 100% delusional. Repeat, they are 100% delusional. I passed a gas station literally 1 mile from my house about an hour ago. Super unleaded, $6.69 at Chevron today. $6.69. I was at the grocery store 2 or 3 days ago. Steak, not prime steak, choice steak. Choice porterhouse, $22 a pound. Bacon prices now at your local grocery store is what filet mignon used to cost. And many of the packages today aren't even 16 ounces. They're 10, 12 ounce packages. Box of cereal, $5, and you're getting less cereal. $8 to $9 now for a gallon of milk. I remember when I was a kid, a teenager in high school, I probably drank 2 gallons of milk a week by myself, no problem. $8 to $9 a gallon today. What is a family of 4? How are they surviving? How are they doing? These same people who say I'm delusional, who say you're delusional, these will be the same people when their government subsidy runs out or just doesn't buy anything anymore because of inflation, or their pension ceased to exist. These will be the same people at some point, and I pray it doesn't happen to them. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but these will be the same people who will be living on the streets homeless, still telling you and I that nothing's going to happen. This is delusion. And these same people are being affected every day by the same inflation we're being affected by. But they're so delusional, they cannot and will not and just cannot accept the truth. And again, these could be the same people that you and I know who become homeless and still will tell us nothing's going to happen. This is the twilight zone we are living in today, ladies and gentlemen, where people are paying $9 for a gallon of milk, $6.69 for a gallon of gas, $5 for a loaf of bread, $3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in Orange County, and still saying nothing's going to happen. They, for some reason, don't see it. But I digress. Gasoline prices are hitting $6 in some parts of the country, and summer driving season isn't even here yet. This on CNBC today. What is this going to do for leisure and hospitality, the vacation industry, as many people just, by this summer, they're going to be tapped out. They just are not going to be able to drive like they once did. They are going to have to cut something out of their life, and it's quite possibly going to be that summer vacation, that road trip where everybody piled up in a car. Looking at airline prices, a lot less people are going to be traveling by air. Is just going to be too expensive, and people are just going to stay at home. They're going to have to stay at home. And as I said earlier, $6.69, 1 mile from where I'm making this video, but we're loosening up oil reserves. I thought this was supposed to help. I'm now seeing gas prices higher than I did a week ago, and we were just told that we're going to be loosening up oil reserves, and this is going to bring down the price of gasoline at the pump. And I'm seeing $6.69 today. Let me know what's happening in your areas. Is it coming down a little bit? But even if it comes down 10, 15, 20 cents because of this loosening of the reserves, which all we are doing is depleting our reserves. So if we have an emergency and we're now depleting our oil reserves, that puts us in a very vulnerable position. But is it going to really help more than 10 or 20 cents? I'm seeing it going up. Comment down below. Let me know what gas prices are doing in your area. The hedge today, German retailers to increase food prices by 20 to 50% on Monday today. Germany is taking steps towards another Weimar hyperinflation scenario. Russian sanctions are going to be coming to the world. We hear about how the U.S. is applying sanctions to Russia, but what happens when Russia turns around and says, we're not going to be shipping commodities to unfriendly countries or countries that we don't like? Maybe it's nickel, maybe it's titanium, maybe it's copper, maybe it's just one of the many commodities that they ship all over the world. What happens when they say, hey, we're not going to be shipping food or commodities or oil? What is going to happen? See, you know, we are applying these sanctions, and many countries around the world are applying sanctions to Russia, but Russia now is going to be applying their own sanctions back to the global economy, back to these global countries. And they are a giant food producer, oil producer. They have literally no debt, and they're holding a lot of gold. And we'll talk more about that. But, you know, who's really going to be applying the sanctions here when you look at it? And what is happening behind the back of the U.S. dollar and the deals that are being cut with the BRICS nations and these countries like India and Saudi Arabia, China? And we are now really, in my opinion, forcing Russia and China to become best of friends and to exit the dollar, use their own currencies, and use gold, and apply their own sanctions on the rest of the world. King World News, Russia holds a shocking 12,000 tons of gold. Russia and China now possess a jaw-dropping 32,000 tons of gold. 12,000 that Russia holds, 20,000 tons, estimated tons that China holds. They could hold even more. Russia probably has more gold than the United States does at this point. And this may explain the strength in the Russian ruble. Remember when it was crippled? Well, now it's regained all of its strength back. Why is that? Is it because they're in the process or the talks of backing the Russian ruble by or with gold? So Russia and China have an estimated 32,000 tons of gold, effectively now controlling gold. This could be a game changer, ladies and gentlemen. Gold up, I think $12, $13 right now as I make this video. We all know gold is money, and it's nobody's liability. And that's the beauty of it. And this is allowing Russia and China to now compete against the US dollar, to now get off of their dependency of the US dollar. And do you think other countries around the world aren't watching this? Do you not think that they see the importance of holding gold, not in other countries, like Venezuela when they held their gold in the Bank of England? Now they can't get it back because the Bank of England doesn't agree with their government and who runs that country. So the Bank of England says, we don't like who's running your country. We're not shipping your gold back. Russia understands that, and that's why their gold sits in their vaults. China understands that, and that's why their gold sits in their vaults. And these gold nations, Saudi Arabia, India, Russia, China, Indonesia, and many, many more, are going to begin to do business on their own. They're not going to need US dollars. They have their own currencies. You think they'd rather use their own currencies, possibly backed by gold? Could we see a world reserve currency rise out of the ashes here? Quite possibly the yuan backed by gold. Very, very possible. Not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or next week, but we are witnessing the construction of this new framework right now being built. Russia threatens to limit vital exports of agricultural products to friendly countries. This also on the hedge today. Russia's deputy secretary said, we will supply food and crops only to our friends. Fortunately, we have a lot of them, and they're not all in Europe and not in North America. We will sell both for rubles and for their national currency in agreed proportions. Need I say more? Another article from the hedge. Sellers are looking to unload Russian crude for yuan. It's too cheap to resist. They say that Russia is selling crude oil now for $35 a barrel. India, China cannot resist the price. They're buying it. And you have to think, as big as countries like India and China are, there's going to be a huge demand there and a huge market for Russia. And of course, the prices will go up. But does Russia really even need the United States any longer? When you have India, you have China, and you're going to have many, many more countries across the globe knocking your door down for this discounted oil. Oil much cheaper to purchase than in many parts of the world, and certainly purchasing U.S. oil, because now we're depleting our reserves because we'd rather be energy dependent than energy independent. And so Russia's going to have a huge market out there, and people are willing to buy, and they are more than willing to use their own currencies. They're more than willing to use their own gold. This is the future, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're preparing for it. U.S. factory orders tumble in February, biggest drop since April of 2020. How about this? Money matters. 3 in 5 Americans admit waking up in the middle of the night thinking about finances. I predict that number to be 4 out of 5, probably around July. When they raise rates in May, when they raise rates in June, this is going to really affect the credit market. It's going to affect the mortgage market. It's going to affect the auto market, housing, everything. It's going to really affect people. Anybody with an adjustable rate mortgage, anybody that needs a payday loan, anybody that's relying on credit cards, you're going to be paying more to borrow money. You want to buy a house, you're going to pay more. You want to buy a car, you're going to pay more. You need to borrow money to buy groceries, you're going to pay more. This is really going to continue to get out of hand. 3 out of 5 is going to turn into 4 out of 5 very, very soon. If you need to purchase something right now that is essential, it's probably a good time to do it. I don't see prices coming down anytime soon. I see them going up. Comment down below. What do you see? Do you think prices at your retailers, at the grocery store, do you think prices are going to begin coming down, or are they going up? Let me know your thoughts on that. And this comes from the Economic Collapse. Great website, theeconomiccollapse.com. 20 facts about the emerging global food shortage that should chill you to the core. And I'm not going to go over all of them, but I wrote down a couple here. And basically, when you read a few of these, you begin to connect the dots very, very quickly. France's foreign affairs minister is telling us that we should brace ourselves for an extremely serious global food crisis. Okay, that sounds pretty serious. President Joe right here said food shortages are going to be real. What was that, about a week, 10 days ago when he said that? Connect the dots here, ladies and gentlemen. German supermarkets today are raising prices anywhere from 20 to 50%. Rationing has begun in Spain and Greece. How about this? Blackrock president Rob Capito said that an entire younger generation is quickly finding out what it means to suffer from shortages. This according to an article in Bloomberg. For the first time, this generation is going into a store not able to get what they want. We have a very entitled generation, he says, that has never had to sacrifice. It's very true. I agree. But has Mr. Capito had to sacrifice? I just did a Wikipedia on him. He went to Harvard Law School. Doesn't sound like he was too bad off growing up. Harvard Law School. After he completed a BS degree in economics from Wharton. So he went to Wharton and he went to Harvard Law School. Serves as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Has Mr. Capito ever had to suffer? Sounds to me like he grew up in a very affluent household. Sounds to me like he's probably in the top 1% today. When he walks into a store, I guarantee you, he shops at a different store than most people do. More than likely, he never goes to the grocery store. He has people purchase his groceries. He probably wears the nicest custom-tailored suits. So they usually have what he has because he has deep pockets. He has a lot of money. But was he not entitled? But again, this is this mentality, this narcissism, this psychotic mentality that these people have, that you're going to suffer, you should suffer, we shouldn't, because we're the top 1%. A couple more things on this list. Since last year, fertilizer prices have risen 300%. Many farmers this year, this summer, are not planting corn. They're going to be planting soybean. We need corn to feed animals like pigs and cattle, so we have beef. And so soybean doesn't require as much fertilizer as corn does. So many farmers transitioning over to soybean. Russia, one of the biggest fertilizer exporters on planet Earth, and they're apparently, we're not friends. Russia may only export food to friendly nations. I don't think we're on that list. Warnings that the U.S. Wheat harvest, winter wheat harvest, will be the worst on record. Another big problem. So again, just going over a few on that list, and there's 20. If you get a chance, check out the Economic Collapse website. It's a good one. But just connect the dots. They're telling you, preparing people who are somewhat awake to get ready. You know, it's kind of interesting that they always give you a little hint here and there. It could be in a movie. It's something, you know, that a president says, just, you know, a couple words. There's always these little hints of what's coming, and you're hearing little hints from big bankers to presidents to global leaders telling you that we're going to see continued food shortages, food prices exploding. So if there are essentials you need right now, whether it's you know, medicines or vitamins or foods, get it right now if you can. Put it away. I don't think that's a bad idea. Because if you're connecting the dots like I am, you know that this summer is going to be very, very rocky. Food prices soaring, energy prices soaring. You know, where I live out here in the Palm Springs area, we're lucky, you know, by June if it's under 110 degrees. And it will be anywhere from 110 to 125 degrees. What are energy costs going to do to people this summer in an area like where I live? Or say you're in Arizona, Phoenix area. Parts of Texas, hot areas, hot climates, real hot climates, and you're running your air conditioner 24 hours a day. Literally here, you have to run your air conditioning 24 hours a day because, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's still over 80 degrees. So the energy costs that people are going to see when they get the bills this summer, it's going to be excruciating. And I don't know how people are going to continue doing it. But hey, they're building new houses, building like gangbusters, pulling more building permits. I see commercial buildings going up. You know, for every, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 commercial buildings I see close, there's always a new one being built. It's incredible. While there's 5 vacant ones on the same street. It's crazy. But we are no doubt in a very unique time, a time that we have never seen before, our parents have never seen before, our grandparents have never seen before. This has never happened before. The economy is so out of whack. It's so absolutely manipulated. You just don't know what to believe at this point. But I do believe, because of all this uncertainty, because of all the manipulation that we've seen over the years, that sooner or later the inevitable is going to happen. And now we are beginning to see more and more evidence of things unraveling, of more cracks in the dam. You're beginning to see it more and more on the television, that they're even beginning to admit what's happening. And they cannot continue to cover up all the vacant buildings, all the shuttered businesses. They cannot cover up mortgage rates at nearly 5%. We're going to see 6% this summer. They can't cover that up. They can't cover up the food lines and the food shortages. They can't cover up and disguise the high prices every time you go to the grocery store. It's now obvious, and anybody who doesn't see it or believe it is delusional. And I hope that if you're one of those people, I hope you get help. There's good doctors out there. Get some therapy. Please get some help before you end up in big trouble, before you end up homeless. You know, people just want to hope and believe that this is all going to go away, that it's just a bad dream, and that things are going to be okay tomorrow, next week, next month. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I both know this is not going to be resolved anytime soon. And I don't think there's any way to resolve it at this point. Inflation is going to take over. The markets will take over. They are going to lose control, and the manipulation ends, and the inflation gets out of control, and we are in the greatest depression we have ever seen. And if the Fed didn't want to step in and do the responsible thing 10 years ago and start raising rates and stop all this, all these purchases of mortgage-backed securities and treasuries and all this debt creation. They didn't want to do the responsible thing. They just wanted to continue expanding the balance sheet, continue buying into these markets and buying bonds and treasuries and keeping rates at zero. And because of this irresponsibility, we're all going to pay a price now. See, at some point, the market is just going to break loose, and it's going to do what markets do. We're going to see inflation because they have lost control. And the more they try now, the more they're going to lose control. And so now we're going to see this inflation take over, and we're going to see a monster depression. The market's bigger than the Fed. The debt is absolutely out of control. The deficit's out of control. Inflation is getting very out of control. And as soon as it gets to a certain breaking point, there's nothing they can do. And this is why you must be your own central bank. This is why you must worry about you. This is why you must be preparing and really now taking every day that you have and preparing every which way possible. Time is of the essence. We're running out of time. Nobody knows the day or time when this thing is really going to get bad. But how many times do people have to be warned? How many more examples do we need to see how bad things are getting? Every day, it's cargo ships lined up. It's diesel prices exploding, shortages, food crisis, shelves empty at the Walmarts, can't get parts at the mechanic shop, builders can't get appliances or building material to finish houses. I mean, how much more do people need? How much more evidence do people need to see where we're at right now? And if you look a little farther down the valley, you know where this ends up. It ends up in a very, very serious depression with very serious shortages. We may see gas shortages, oil shortages. We're seeing food shortages right now. We're seeing appliance shortages, diesel shortages. We're seeing builders that can't even get garage doors, can't get the appliances to finish the houses, roofing material, you name it. There's shortages, chip shortages. We can't even build cars now. So we are really, literally stuck in the center of a very, very serious storm, like a piece of cork just bobbing up and down, and we can't get out. And the storm is going to continue to get bigger and more violent and more chaotic. And this piece of cork, this economy is going to keep just bouncing up and down relentlessly, violently. And people are going to continue to get hurt, lose their wealth, lose their savings, lose their purchasing power. Ladies and gentlemen, as I leave you today, make sure you get your essentials, make sure you get your security in order, make sure you get your house in order with food, water, essentials, medical supplies, a trauma kit, extra clothes, Of course, gold, silver, have some junk silver, and have some cash on hand. Have some candles, have some matches, have a jet oil, have some extra propane. Just think outside of the box what you may need, and pray to God you never ever have to use it. It's a beautiful day today, and we're blessed to have what we have, and thank God that we are blessed, that we are awake, that we are preparing, and that we have the ability to continue to prepare for the worst storm this country is ever going to see. It is going to be absolutely horrific. And every day I say prepare, because there's people today who've never seen these videos, who just tuned in today. They're brand new. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And to those people, continue watching these videos and watching videos like this. Continue preparing. And so many people, it's, as I've said in the past, it's too late for so many people. If you have a job right now, if you have the means, get going. Start getting prepared right now. Time is not your friend, ladies and gentlemen. Time is running out. And it really breaks my heart that so many people are going to be absolutely swallowed up by this crash. And they didn't have to be, because there are things you can do to prepare, and people are going to prosper in the worst of times. And you don't want to be delusional right now. You don't want to be broke. You don't want to be in debt. You don't want to be filing bankruptcy. You don't want to be a debt slave as we enter the greatest depression on earth. This is the time to get the debts paid off, to build up that emergency fund, have some cash put away, have that safety net, have some gold, have some silver, and everything else I mentioned on top of everything else you can think of. And again, pray to God you never ever have to use it. But unfortunately, I believe that you're going to have to use it at some point. The grid in America is extremely fragile. The economy, extremely fragile. The banking system, extremely fragile. Just even socially, what we're seeing socially is so fragile. And if the economy breaks, then socially things break. And when people get hungry, when they get mad, they get upset, and they see no future, no hope, they're angry because they have nothing, they're quite possibly coming to your house. And there is no alarm system that is going to save you, no cell phone that is going to save you, no camera that is going to save you. You're going to be on your own. You will be responsible for your own security, as you are going to be responsible for your own finances, your own security, and responsible for your own spirit. God bless you all. Have a phenomenal day. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please give it a thumbs up, share, and I look very forward, as always, to talking with you soon.